Hey guys, Master Jace, Jason Jeffries, the Alliance Project, the Rebel Alliance. We're going to be doing some stuff, so going over some good excerpts from some occult journals and notebooks, and just some like esoteric wisdom. It seems to be universal, at least from my viewpoint, and some of the other greatest theosophical minds that have ever existed. So we're going to go ahead and go over them and just kind of share a presentation, share thoughts, and ideas, and information. A lot of this stuff's from people that were initiated, so hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start with, let me see here, some excerpts basically from an occult notebook, basically. And some of the stuff's going to be from Echoes of the Cosmic Song by Mary Gray, as well. A little bit of background information. There's going to be a few authors and things like that. We're going to just tie everything together in a nice little presentation. But Mary Gray was born in Paris in 1886. She was a member of the Theosophical Society and knew a lot of the leaders of thought in Europe and America. So we'll just go ahead and get into it. The book is actually one of the books we're going to be reading excerpts from and sharing thoughts on is from The Secret Doctrine. So, preceding the manifested universe as we know it, the eternal parent, the mother of four, wrapped in her ever-invisible robes. Let me start that over. The eternal parent, the mother of form, wrapped in her invisible robes, had slumbered once again for 7 eternities. The mystery of the 7 lies in the knowledge of the 1. Time was not, for it lay asleep in the infinite bosom of duration. Universal mind was not, for there was no divine architects to contain it. The 7 ways to bliss were not, as no self existed to reach attainment. The 7 truths had ceased to be. The great causes of misery were not, as no self existed to be seduced by them. Darkness alone filled the boundless all, for the Father and Mother and Son had all once again merged as one. The soul of life had yet to reawaken. The cause of existence had been transcended by the visible that was and the invisible that is, for the illusion of the universe rested in eternal non-being, the one reality. Alone, the one form of existence, stretched boundless and infinite in dreamless sleep, and life pulsated, unconscious and universal space throughout the omnipresence which is sensed by the opened eye of the initiate, as creation awakens once again. Through the highways and the byways of the vaster cosmic seam, and the sunlight and the starlight, come and go, a golden stream. Host to host from distant coasts, fringes of the cosmic deep, golden, gleaming star mist streaming, haste they on their watch to keep. We small mortals, at the portals of a system far unfurled, catch but flashes, tidal washes, from ancient star and distant world. We are blind, and cannot find the key of all life's great story. Until we rise with open eyes, we cannot know its untold glory. Many may find this information strange and intriguing, cast up like unusual shells on a lonely beach. But what follows will make our tumultuous past and present better understood, if the basic tenets of philosophy are accepted as a foundation upon which the plan was built. This will offer the student of philosophical studies a new pattern of thought and hidden knowledge about the history of our planet and solar system. For some, they give an answer to deep-lying queries as to the purpose and the plan for humanity, its problems, and the causes of our anguish and deep-seated conflicts here on Earth. So, for thousands of years, within the esoteric teachings of the varying traditions of the world, I've sought to teach humanity the inner laws that govern the universe. These truths are also found in some form in all religions. First, there's a divine spark, and all, the incarnated soul, or the Son of God, who through experience unfolds its latent powers. Secondly, there's a spiritual evolution for which physical evolution exists, that ever more evolved forms may be prepared to serve the unfolding powers of the divine spirit within. Third, there's the law of justice, which governs our destiny, a promise of achievement through our own efforts if we strive for that fulfillment. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Also known as karma in the East. Mankind is thus the arbiter of its own fate. Between humanity and infinite exists many beings of varying powers and varying degrees of spiritual potency. In Christianity, we hear of the 7 spirits before the throne of God, and of angels and archangels. In Hinduism, we hear of the 7 rishis and the devas, the elemental spirits of the earth. Within all traditions, we hear of both evolutionary and involutionary forces, which are either benevolent or malevolent to mankind, depending on its current stage of evolution. On the path toward divinity, humanity must learn to choose between good and evil, and those are who readily stand for the light, for the upward path to consciousness union with the spirit. And then there are those who rebel and seek to win the kingdoms of the earth for themselves, who thereby represent the spiritual evil in high places, the lords of the dark face, who seek to dominate mankind for their own selfish glory and power. These lords of materiality who exist in etheric matter and upon the lower astral world enslave and influence man through the senses and often use their agents in physical incarnation to disrupt progress or through greed, brutality, and wrong human relations. In the veil of mystery that shrouds our earth, rents appear through we gain glimpses of a strange and haunting story, one that explains the phrase, born in sin. Milton's fallen angels appear in the doom uttered when part of man was driven from Eden. The residue of ancient failures still lurks deep in the collective consciousness. Thus the peculiar admixture of humanity upon this planet. In our era, there's been a great cosmic failure, and thereby part of humanity has become the great orphan. Furthermore, that it is premised that every planet has its own evolving humanity, not always in dense physical bodies like ours, but in those suited to their own planetary environment and evolutionary state. Not only the planets of our system, but the whole cosmic scheme, with its suns, constellations, and attendant planets, are all a part of one great cosmic plan, whereby ever-increasing expansion of consciousness occurs. Lord Buddha said, "Veil after veil will fall, but veil after veil remains." Throughout the vast realms of manifested worlds, there exists possible relationships of sister stars and systems, of interlocking evolutions and rulers. The oversoul of any humanity is the indwelling life of the planet, or the Logos, who uses the planet as the outer vesture, similar to how our own soul uses the physical body as its outer vesture. The occult axiom, as above, so below, signifies the intricate relationship between all lives found within the microcosm and the macrocosm. As one develops in evolution, one can learn to contact these great connecting fields of energy and enter more fully into the life forces of the universe. Significance of the science of astrology stems from the unity of the great body of planets in any given system. But as the extrasolar forces are not sufficiently understood to account for the influences they wield, the precession of the equinoxes has a greater influence upon the action of the planetary forces at any given time than humans now grasp. The direct influence of the dominant equinox upon the sun is of a paramount importance, since it changes in the system the force of every planet and modifies and intensifies and changes its native influences. The keynote of equinox dominates the age. The planetary influences are merely minor subordinate chords within the major harmony. The music of the spheres is a note of ever-changing harmonies progressing forward in spiralic motion. The unveiling of the great truths which are now being revealed must await the appointed hour. Throughout the ages, the mysteries have patiently sought to prepare human minds for the truths which planetary and racial evolution would thrust upon them. The time is now come where evolution is unveiling scientific secrets, but unsuitably used can prove to be an utmost menace to humanity. To counterbalance the risk, a group of occult truths are being given through various channels which will build up a group of thinkers with occultly trained minds that can cope successfully with varying problems of civilization. Students of the occult may not always be good businessmen or women, but they're trained on the inner planes into a powerful band who carry their influence far on the inner planes. They're trained occultists. The time is now approaching when the knowledge of the right use of occult forces will need to reach the lower brain in order to accomplish the higher purpose of mankind. The mysteries are to be reestablished, and the great Mother Isis will once again speak through her neophytes and seers, as in the days of old Egypt. There's peace in the silence of the heart when it reaches inwards towards spirit. The solitary peace known to the solitary heart alone can be real. All their peace must pass, for it is established upon duality and the planes of form when impermanence remains. In the days of the future, more will be revealed. The pattern of the great tapestry of the solar system is just unrolling its first designs. The time has come where mankind may be entrusted with some of the greatest secrets which have been withheld. Should he misuse the knowledge or misinterpret it to his undoing? Peace. This is the most precious possession of the human heart. It should be treasured and never lost. Since only in the sanctuary of peace within the heart can the light of the divinity shine forth, so can be illumined all problems of life, as the power of peace, the tranquility of inner stillness, is applied. There's a power in the peace of the heart, which confounds all evil. It is the source of control over man and beast. The mountains represent peace. The sea represents action. When the mirror of the mind is stilled, upon its shiny surface appear reflections of the new splendors of the coming age. Serenity must be achieved in every department of life, in every phase of being. As action arises from serenity, so it is efficient and powerful. The haste and hurry-scurry of our mind and bodies alone causes impatience, irritation, weariness, and strain. They are foes to peace. Let them cease. Invoke the presence of peace, all ye seekers of truth. The universe is a living, conscious being. Its expansion and contraction can be likened to a cosmic breath, and it has a mind of its own. Its pulse feels all creation within its bioelectric field, and like us, it reflects a higher and lower nature. Likewise, there's a vital power which pours through all of the cosmos, known as prana, chi, or ether. The golden light of the etheric web reaches into the vastness of cosmic space and can be likened to an electrical medium or fluid within the cosmic bloodstream in the waters of space. Fohot, which is Fohot, I believe, is how you spell it in most places, most mythologies. Or I guess you wouldn't even call mythologies, occult and esoteric knowledge and wisdom. It's the great electrical initiator of all creation, in which all lesser degrees of electrical energies and forces precipitate. All the elements, whether it is earth, water, fire, air, or ether, are all derived from this one intrinsic force, Fohot. Its forward progressive motion drills holes through the space. And all planes in consciousness in our solar system are but reflections of its emanations, as Fohot, the grandfather of electricity, animates all forms into life. Indeed, electricity is the energy of life itself. The entire universe is an electrical system of varying degrees, yet little is known about the true scope of cosmic evolution. We can make limited assumptions based upon our own cycles, but these are fruitless in comparison. Fires of the spheres leave trails across the heavens as they wheel, flash, and turn, again in their orbits. It is all a path of beauty seen with the cosmic eye. The trail of the fire links star to star, planet to planet, and it is upon this trail that the avenues between the sister planets and between the sister solar systems are open. It is therefore not possible to soar into endless space. There are systems you cannot touch nor enter, since they are not related to us, except in the most remote and distant way. Between sister systems, there are highways, traversed by those great beings which visit occasionally, like beams of light. That's what we're talking about. They visit occasionally even the remote portion of the kingdoms. The magnetic forces which constitute these stellar highways have their natural ebb and flow. These strange laws are the only sign we have of some remote and greater intelligence which guides and governs the wheeling systems and the greater correspondences. We humans are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Every manifested form is evolving, and it does it through self-expression within the evolution of consciousness. In other words, all the forms in the cosmos can be seen as vehicles through which the infinite can reflect and manifest itself in the finite. For example, the cells in our body retain their own individual consciousness. The physical structure of the cell is a manifestation of that level of consciousness. This consciousness coordinates and cooperates together to form a higher organism, the human body. The human body is a physical manifestation of our human consciousness through the incarnated soul. Likewise, The Earth is also an expression of a higher consciousness, and the Earth scheme is a part of a greater manifestation called the solar system. The whole solar system is, in fact, one consciousness, expressing itself through the sun and of the various planetary schemes and their subsequent chains and globes. As the development of life unfolds, the forces behind evolution are in a constant state of movement, change, and active manipulation. The consciousness of a solar system that governs this stupendous process is often referred to as a solar logos. And the forming of our solar logos, with the chief hierophant of the solar system, is a manifestation of a divine expression, an expression which manifests itself through even a greater system, a cosmic logos, a being composed of 7 solar systems, of which ours is but one. It has been referred to as the one about whom may not be said. This unfathomable deity, as expansive as it is still yet and only a lesser life within the greater constellation, or supercosmic logos, which in turn is but even a lesser life within the galactic logos. That great spiritual being in whom all hundreds of billions of suns move and have their being, forming countless constellations and solar systems through which the many humanities evolve, we being just one of them. It seems endless, but there is a point of origin which all manifestations flow. There is a source to cosmos. The great chain of life finally extends up to the universal logos, the being who embodies the entire universe and is the universe itself. All consciousness within the cosmos is an expression of this all-encompassing deity, for it is the apex point of finite existence. From this perspective, galaxies are just cells within its body. Constellations are molecules in those cells, and solar systems are just tiny atoms. A long time ago, when the time had come for a new solar system, word had flashed to the large group of related suns and their planets, calling forth volunteers from various posts. The solar systems are orchestrated by not by the individual solar logos, but the greater logos. The sphere of the center of the greater orbit has reached the need for further expression and then development. This hard to fathom existence evolves and grows through its own creations. Thusly, a solar system is born. The work to be done is laid out in great archetypal plans, flashed into the great central chamber of the great central system. These plans show the work to be done and the qualities required for each position. Every form of creation, from cell to an entire solar system, has a living consciousness within it. And just like in a commander-in-chief or a prime minister who carefully plots out and plans his strategies by appointing cabinet members and staff for governing, so goes the solar lords, plotting and planning massive strategies for governing an entire solar system. This gives but a glimpse to challenge the average mind on the enormity of our universe and the living consciousness within it. When a solar logos receives its archetypal plans from the greater logos to create a solar system, he will call upon volunteers in whom he trusts and worked with before in the past. This is critical for harmony among the governing groups. He brings all these forces into obedience to his will, but they are no more part of him than the actual fact than the relatives or clans are integral part of chief of that family. The solar logos works with these cosmic intelligences to build up great reservoirs of power that will be used to stimulate the lesser evolving units within their respective spheres, coinciding with the day of Brahma. When a Logos establishes his claim, he calls the volunteers for the other positions and appoints them according to capacity and personal loyalty. This last is highly important. Only those who have proved themselves worthy and are able to work well together can be safely chosen. The greater unit of a governing group comprised of lesser ones must show enough homogeneous qualities to assure harmony. This is often best assured by the intense personal attachment and approved capacity to work as one under a given head. Only those who are capable of terrific exertions of will and terrific endurance can in any way qualify for the position of a solar logi. The path is arduous, and it's easier to qualify for subordinate positions, to achieve power within limited spheres, to supervise only limited and specialized groups, such as the logos of an individual planet. Every planetary logos within the solar system will oversee evolution of all the kingdoms of nature on that planet, and all life on that planet will be an expression of its consciousness. Yet all the planetary logos work within the ring past not the solar logos. This is another excerpt. Far away where the stars are sweeping, where the winds of space are breathing, their age-long melody. Far away on the rim of known creation, there dwell the angelic hosts of the dawn. From age to age, from planet to planet, as the hour comes, for the presaging of the new light, they come flaunting their banners in the eastern sky as a myriad of host of holy ones who herald the light. Their lesser follows carry from eon to eon the symbol of the dawn and the colors of the returning sun, the true dawn, of which of this upon our planet is but a dim reflection, represents the reopening of life and the endless cycle of incarnations of the one spirit. That resplendent and majestic hour is symbolized throughout eternity, throughout the splendor of dawn by the ever-returning wonder of its people and its people's hearts, by the ever-renewed yearning for it, the ever-renewed yearning for it in the times of darkness or distress. May peace prevail. Om, said the Almighty One. Thus all came into manifestation. In the beginning was the Word, the intelligent goal of the divine logos that encompasses the whole creation process until the end of time. The basis of all manifested phenomena is the enunciated sound or the word spoken with power, that is, with the full purpose of the will behind it. Herein, as is known, lies the value of meditation, for meditation produces eventually that inner dynamic purpose and recollection, or that internal adulation, which must invariably precede the uttering of any creative sound. When it is said that the Logos produced the worlds through meditation, it means that within his own center of consciousness, there was a period in where he brooded over and meditated over the purpose and plans he had in view, wherein he visualized to himself the entire world process as a perfected whole, seeing the end from the beginning and being aware of the detail of the consummated sphere. And then when his meditation was concluded and the whole completed as a picture, before his inner vision, he brought to use a certain word of power which had been committed to him by the one about whom naught may be said. The logos of the cosmic scheme, of which our system is but a part of. It must be remembered that the sound Om is man's endeavor to reproduce on an infinitesimal small scale the cosmic triple sound whereby creation was made possible. The words of power of all degrees have a triple sequence. First, they are sounded by some fully self-conscious entity, and it invariably takes place after a period of deliberation or meditation, wherein the purpose is visualized. Second, they affect the Deva kingdom, which produced the creation of all forms. The Devas fall under two categories, and their effect is dual in character. The Devas on the evolutionary path, the great builders of the solar system, and those under them who have passed through the human stage, respond to the sound of the word, and with conscious realization, collaborate with the one who has breathed it forth, and thus the work is carried out. The Devas on the involutionary arc, the lesser builders or elementals who have not yet passed through the human stage, also respond to the sound, but unconsciously, or perforce, and through the power of the initiated vibrations, build the required forms out of their own substance. Third, they act as a stabilizing factor, and as long as the force of the sound persists, the forms cohere. It's just like when the world's vibrating, the ohm of the world, the heartbeat, the frequency that the world exists at. That's what they meant when first there was sound, and then there was light. They were talking about, even the Bible, no matter what religion this applies to. This is like more of a scientific way to look at it, I guess. But as long as the force of the sound persists, the forms cohere, and the words of power, or the permutations of the ohm, exist in every possible tone, subtone, and quarter tone. And upon these shades of sound, the work of creation and substantiation is built up. A multiplicity of sounds exists within each greater sound and affects different groups. It must also be remembered that generally and broadly speaking, the sounds within the solar system fall into two groups. The initiatory sounds are those which produce manifestation or phenomena of any kind on all planes of life. Eventuating sounds, which are produced from within the forms themselves during the evolutionary process, and which are the aggregate of the tones of every form in any particular kingdom of nature. Every form likewise has a tone, which is created by the minute sounds produced by the atoms composing that particular form. Sound is thus the instrument of creation. It is the very means by which the divine thought can be transmitted and impressed upon the whole field of space and everything found within that field. Okay, if you guys would like to read some of these excerpts, you'd have to look up The Secret Doctrine, but also you'd have to look up Mary Gray's books, Echoes of the Cosmic Song, and Initiation, sorry. And Human and Solar by Alice Bailey. They're both really key in like a occult and theological sense, like of understanding with like a scientific means a lot of the religious and spiritual things that people do in this new age, I guess you could say, that they don't really understand. They'll talk about sound and ohm and light and cosmic evolution and Mother Earth and things like that, but they don't really get too deep into understanding the ins and outs of it. It's really an eye-opener, and it helps to tie a lot of other information together. It really does. If you just look up stuff that has to do with like the Secret Doctrine and things like that, it will be a good place to further this research. I just wanted to share these little parts because I thought they were just mind-blowing to me, and they were really good stuff. So sorry if the reading sounded a little choppy. I just wanted to share it the only way I knew how, by reading it to you guys and making it easier for everybody to maybe pick up the research somewhere. But if you guys enjoyed this small little presentation, I'm going to go ahead and make part 2 to the hidden sound technology, things like that. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.